Pharrellwilliams is facing lawsuit after lawsuit as men's creative director at Louis Vuitton, most recently over the pocket socks trademark infringement and the Coogi sweater controversy. But is he really at fault? Or is this just how the luxury machine works now? In this episode of Vanity Table Talk, we're breaking down the Pharrell Louis Vuitton lawsuit, how it ties into designer accountability, and what it means when fashion stops being creative and starts being corporate.
Switch it up.
Welcome back to Vanity Table Talk, where we decode the truth behind the gloss and glamour of luxury fashion. Today's episode, we are ready to dive deeper to find out who really owns luxury. But this time, we're getting personal. Today's episode is going to challenge how you think about creativity, celebrity, and the business of fashion. Because lately, Louis Vuitton has been in the courtroom more than on the catwalk. Let's talk about Pharrellwilliams, the lawsuits, and what happens when fashion tries to manufacture magic under extreme pressure. Because it's no longer just about the brands, it's about the lawsuits, the accusations, the pressure. And today, that spotlight falls on Pharrellwilliams and the house of Louis Vuitton. Let's get into it. Pharrell was announced as Louis Vuitton's men's creative director in 2023, and let's be honest, the reaction was mixed. He's not a trained designer, but he is a cultural icon with fashion roots, especially in streetwear. People were curious, excited, nervous. Then came the pocket socks lawsuit. You've probably seen the headlines. Pharrellwilliams and Louis Vuitton are being sued for trademark infringement over their $500+ pocket socks. Sounds wild, right? Louis Vuitton released high-end socks priced over $500 with a built-in pocket. Not long after, a California-based company called Pocket Socks Incorporated sued both Louis Vuitton and Pharrell for trademark infringement. Why? Because they've been making and selling socks with zippered pockets under that name since 2012. They trademarked the name, built a business around it, and then here comes Louis Vuitton, dropping a similar design under Pharrell's new menswear line. No collaboration, no heads up, just a high fashion version of something that already existed. But here's the kicker. It's not the first lawsuit since Pharrell became the men's creative director. There's also tension with Coogi over a sweater Louis Vuitton designed that looks eerily similar to Coogi's legendary 3D knit patterns. The iconic brand that gave us those vibrant, textured sweaters worn by Biggie and every hip-hop legend in the 90s. Louis Vuitton introduced a Coogi-style sweater in a campaign. And it wasn't long before Coogi fans and even Coogi themselves started asking, is this a tribute or a ripoff? Again, no collaboration, no licensing, just a design inspired by, with no credit or partnership. To me, this isn't just about lawsuits. It's about a bigger issue in fashion right now. The way big brands blur the line between inspiration and imitation. These lawsuits raise a bigger question. How does a brand this powerful, backed by an army of legal and creative minds, let something like this happen? Or maybe they didn't let it happen. Maybe they expected it. Maybe it's calculated. Because let's be honest, controversy sells, especially when it comes in a $500 sock. Now let's talk about Pharrell. He's not a traditional designer. He's a music icon, a cultural visionary, a streetwear pioneer. And yes, he's loved fashion for years. But that's not the same as building fashion. It's not the same as navigating the business of fashion. He's in charge of men's fashion at one of the most powerful luxury brands in the world. Every collection he drops has to be bold, headline making, and of the moment. He's not just designing, he's expected to be a cultural oracle, and he has to do that on a luxury fashion schedule, which means new drops, capsule collections, and collaborations. Constantly. I'm going to be honest with you, I can't imagine that kind of pressure. And look, I say this from experience. I'm early in my own design journey. I don't have a fashion degree or a traditional background. I've been a consumer of luxury fashion for years. I've collected bags, studied craftsmanship, obsessively tracked the rise and fall of quality in the big houses. But loving fashion doesn't automatically prepare you for designing it. I had to learn that firsthand when I went from consumer to designer. And let me be real with you. I had no formal training and no mentors in the field, just passion and persistence. And I'm doing it without a major fashion house backing me or a production team making samples for me overnight. Is it impossible? No. Is it harder? Absolutely. But I'm not under pressure to launch a headline-making collection every season. I'm not carrying the weight of a billion-dollar brand. And that's where I really feel for Pharrell. Yes, he has a team of experts. But the pressure he's under, the expectation to merge culture, fashion, business, and hype, all in record time, is a recipe for creative shortcuts. And when you move too fast, you start stepping on toes or trademarks. Here's the difference. I'm not pressured to release something new every month. I'm not racing to stay relevant. I'm building slow, intentionally, with respect for the process. Pharrell, he doesn't have that luxury, even at Louis Vuitton. Here's something people don't talk about enough. Loving fashion doesn't automatically mean you're prepared to make fashion. I know, because I've done both. I was obsessed with bags, designers, collections, and history. But when I stepped into the role of creator, I realized how different the game is. It's technical, it's political, it's expensive, it's humbling. That's why I'm always going to have empathy for creative directors who come from outside the traditional mold. But with that opportunity comes responsibility, especially when your name is tied to a brand like Louis Vuitton. You're not just designing, you're setting a tone for the culture. If your work disrespects trademarks, ignores legacies, or skips over credit, it doesn't matter how fresh it looks. And yet, Louis Vuitton has lawyers. They have design teams. They have legal clearance procedures. So how does a brand this large and this smart still release a product that allegedly violates an existing trademark? One of two things happened. One, they didn't know, and that's terrifying. Two, they did know, and they released it anyway, hoping no one would notice or care until the check cleared. Either way, it's a bad look. And here's what really bothers me. This could have been a moment to collaborate. Imagine the power of a Louis Vuitton X Pocket Socks drop, or a Louis Vuitton X Coogi moment that paid tribute to hip-hop heritage. Pharrell came from that world, Coogi and Pharrell go together like Tim's and Biggie. It reminds me of the Murakami era, when Louis Vuitton collaborated with Japanese artist Takashi Murakami to create something new. That was art meeting fashion, not fashion borrowing from art and forgetting to give credit. What we're seeing now is a shift from collaboration to appropriation, and that's not innovation. What frustrates me most isn't even the lawsuits, it's the missed opportunities. The Coogi sweater, for example. This could have been a moment to pay homage, a chance to team up with a legacy Black-owned brand that helped define hip-hop fashion. Imagine the impact of a Louis Vuitton and Coogi collaboration, bringing two cultural titans together in a way that respects history and drives it forward. Instead, we get appropriation over appreciation, just like what happened with the Murakami collaboration back in the 2000s, but without the mutual respect. That Murakami Vuitton era was art meets fashion in perfect balance. This just feels like brand strategy cloaked in nostalgia. And again, who's responsible? The creative director? The legal team? The conglomerate pulling the strings? Pharrell may be the face, but he's not the only one making decisions. Louis Vuitton, like many luxury houses today, is owned by a parent company, LVMH. And at that level, innovation is always measured against marketability and revenue. So I'll ask it again. Who really owns luxury? Is it the artist, the artisan, the visionary, or is it the boardroom? Fashion is moving fast, too fast. And in that rush, we're seeing more legal battles, more recycled ideas, and fewer collaborations rooted in authenticity. We're losing meaning in the chase for momentum. If Louis Vuitton really wants to remain a leader in culture, not just commerce, it has to do better. So does Pharrell. So does the entire luxury ecosystem. Because in this new era, being innovative isn't just about what you make. It's about how you make it, who you involve, and why you're doing it in the first place. This all hits home for me. As someone who's just beginning my journey as a designer, learning how to make bags from scratch, studying leathercraft, experimenting with patterns, I think a lot about originality. I think a lot about responsibility. And I think a lot about what happens when fashion stops being creative and starts being extractive. When you're small, every design choice feels personal. Every sketch matters. You obsess over the details because you have to. There's no room to copy. You're still trying to discover your own voice. But when you're at the top, that responsibility should grow, not shrink. The truth is, I've got enough ideas for years, and more come every day. But I don't feel rushed to pump out a viral piece just to keep up. I'm focused on building a brand with soul. That's what I wish more luxury houses would return to. So where does this leave us? Pharrell is still one of the most influential figures in modern culture. Louis Vuitton is still one of the most powerful names in luxury. But these lawsuits and controversies remind us that even the most iconic brands are not immune to missteps. Let's continue this in the comments. Let me know, do you think Pharrell deserves the blame, or is this bigger than him? What would you do differently if you were in Pharrell's position? Also, what are your thoughts about celebrities as creative directors in luxury fashion? And what do you think? Would a Coogi x Louis Vuitton collab have changed the game? I believe that it would have, and still can. They should definitely settle and do a collaboration. Listen, if today's episode made you think, you're going to want to check out my next Vanity Table Talk episode titled Who Really Owns Luxury? It breaks down the entire ownership structure behind your favorite brands and how much creative control designers really have when conglomerates are calling the shots. That episode will give this one even more context. So make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell. Thanks for joining me today on Vanity Table Talk. I'm just getting started, and I hope you are too. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and stay critical.
Switch it up. Come again.